Okay, so welcome to a super quick tutorial where you're going to learn how to create awesome looking book covers in a very small amount of time. So we're going to be using a backwards workflow that I think most people miss when it comes to creating book covers for your coloring books. Okay, so you're going to end up after this tutorial being able to create super punchy book covers like this, and like this. So let's get straight into this now. The workflow is going to look just like this. You're going to go with 4 to 5 steps that you can copy. You can copy this today and start creating awesome looking book covers. So we're going to walk through each one of these in detail. So don't worry too much if it doesn't make sense at the moment. So step 1, we're going to generate the interiors for our book, and we're going to generate interior styles, which is super important. We're going to use Nano Banana 2 to do this. Step 2, we're going to pick the best page after we've tested a lot of styles. Again, I'll explain that in just a second. We're going to colorize the book cover using Nano Banana. We're going to use specific prompts for all of this. Step 4 is going to be kind of optional, but what you might find is that if you keep generating book covers and images inside of the same chat on Nano Banana, it starts to lose its visual appeal. So in some cases, if it's not working out for you, you might have to start again in a new chat, but we don't want to worry about that too much. And the main thing here, we're going to use my buzzword method to create a ton of different styles for our book cover. It's super powerful stuff. So just very quickly, who am I? My name is Chris. I've been self-publishing on Amazon for a pretty long time now. I've sold over 188,000 paid units on Amazon, and I'm also the founder of Raydog KDP. If you're super serious about your publishing, make sure that you check out Raydog KDP. It's going to be linked in the description below at chrisraydog.com. Check it out at some point during this video. You're going to be very surprised as to what you find. So let's get into this. So what is the problem with book covers in 2026? Now, of course, with the introduction of AI, the standard for book covers, in my opinion, has gone up. So when someone is creating a book cover and they think it looks amazing, what usually happens is the book cover just looks okay. And a lot of this comes down to not using the right tools and also not spending enough time on the book covers and using the best prompts, okay? So here's what we can do. What most publishers are doing at the moment, creating very average looking book covers using places like Canva and Kittle whilst being an amateur designer. So it doesn't mean that you can't create good book covers using Canva and Kittle. You can, but for me, it's not optimal when it comes to creating something amazing when you're not a designer. So another big problem, and again, I've always said that half of the battle in 2026 is knowing which tools to use. Let me just get my pen here so we can follow along. Using older AI tools is going to give you very poor results. Hiring multiple freelancers from places like Fiverr for super cheap. Again, it can work. And if I was doing a high content book, I might be inclined to use Fiverr because I think they do a pretty good job because those book covers are structurally a bit more simple to create. But the main thing here is that most people don't spend enough time on the book covers. So what we've been doing when it comes to using AI, we're generating an interior page first. We're going to take around 3 to 5 hours on every single book cover that we publish. We want the cover to look like a page from the book, especially if it's a coloring book, because people enjoy the customer journey. So if they see something on your thumbnail, when they go to click on the listing, they expect the rest of the listing to fall in line with the book cover. Okay, so it's also going to help you using AI to cut through visual competition. Amazon is one big visual competition platform. It's what it is. And your book covers are so important that you get them right. You don't want to spend time creating the interior for your book, working hard on it, maybe investing some money, and then letting yourself down by not creating a good book cover, okay? So step 1 here, we're going to be generating the interiors first and the styles of those using prompts, okay? So when it comes to creating a prompt that you're going to put into Nano Banana, you don't have to use the most special tools ever. I like to use Claude. You can use ChatGPT to make the prompt for you. You can use Gemini, and of course you can use Claude as well. They should all kind of do the job here. And the thing is, with creating awesome looking book covers, you can work with bad prompts, but I think it's best that we push the AI tools as far as we can go. Okay, so for example, I think Claude writes much better image prompts than most people or most other AI tools because it knows like the style language, composition, etc., etc. So what we're going to do for the interior, we're going to generate 5 to 10 pages until we find the style that we like. So that's not only going to help your book cover, but of course it's going to help the consistency of your interior as well. So again, don't worry if this doesn't make too much sense at the moment, because it's going to. So when we have the style that we like, we're going to create the entire interior out of that style using it as a reference image. So we take the one that we like the most, use it as a reference image, and then continue creating the interior from that. Okay, then we're going to pick the best for the cover, and then we're going to colorize it with Nano Banana. Here's what things look like when it comes to generating prompts. Again, use any AI tool that you want. I like to use Claude. We're going to generate some different styles for our interiors to begin with. Okay, so what I like to do is kind of have a master prompt here, something like this. You're going to say, create a master prompt that I can use for the interiors of different books and different niches. It's going to come back with something like this that you're just going to be able to fill out. So for example, you would take this and you would change this for coloring book, which you're going to do. You'd put in your niche. So for mine in this example, we were doing it's angry fruit as an example. Okay, then the target reader, we're going to make some crude guesses here and maybe go for women 20 to 50. I don't know, it doesn't matter. You can ask one of your chat tools to give you an estimation of who your target reader would be based off of the niche. Then the style reference is going to be important as well, okay, because we want to keep testing different styles until we get the one that we want. And you can also start filling in the mood and the size and things like that. Okay, so this is not necessary. You can write shitty little prompts and you can still do well with it. I just like to do things this way. Okay, so this is what the first attempt looked like from a generic prompt. So remember, we're coming from a really super generic prompt like this here, and this was the first result. Now, this is not good enough for my liking because it looks like AI too much. Okay, I don't like the composition, I don't like the thickness of the lines. It's just not a particularly good image. So the second attempt is we're prompting again, but we're using simple as the style that we're going after. So let's just go back to make a point here. We would come to the style reference as we're prompting, and we'll change it to something like simple lines or something like that. Okay, really, really easy stuff. And that's going to give you a completely different output, but you're using the same image. Okay, so we uploaded this image, we prompted again, it gave us this image. I still don't like it. This is too this looks too childish for my liking. I want to target adults with this angry fruit book as an example. So what I did then was to prompt thin lines. Okay, now this is much closer. I'm not going to go through too many styles in this video, but this is much closer to the style that I want to have in my interior, and it's also going to help the book cover look better as well. So we would pick this style that we like the most. Ideally, you would do more, obviously. We're going to pick this style and we'll create the rest of the interior using this as a reference image so that it stays consistent. So by reference image, I mean you're going to download this image, you're going to put it into Nano Banana, and you'll say something like, use this image as a loose reference and then plan the entire 30-page book for me. Then it's going to give you 30-page ideas, and then you're going to say, do page 1, do page 2, using this as the reference image each time to keep consistency. Okay, so step 2 here, we're going to pick the best style for the page that we're going to be using for the book cover. Okay, so just a couple of things here. The criteria that we're looking for when it comes for a nice book cover, we're going to try and keep this simple because people get way too deep with this and end up creating like a visual mess. But we want to have a strong focal point, so just one image in the center. The example that I've used is okay. It's not very interesting. It's a big angry strawberry. The main thing is it's the hero image, it's the focal point. People are going to see that when they look at the listing. There needs to be negative space for the title, and one big tip here is to not use too many words for the title of your book. 2 to 3 words, big bold words on the title, which you're going to prompt when you're making it in Nano Banana. Okay. Is it legible from a thumbnail perspective? So you can always do a thumbnail test. Can you read the title? Can you see the hero image from a tiny thumbnail? Because that's what the Amazon customer is going to be seeing, and the emotional hook. Does the vibe of the book match what the customer is expecting? Okay, so you don't have to think about this too much, but I would say it's still important when it helps you picking a interior image for your book cover. So if you're not sure which image to use for your book cover, as part of the Raydog KDP membership, we have an incredible, amazing, very helpful, very transparent Discord community where you can come in, you can chat about publishing, you can get feedback, as you can see from the feedback section here, and get tons and tons and tons of feedback before you publish a book. And as you can see, so many members are using this because it works extremely well, and it gives you a much better chance of your book coming out the way that you want it, and of course increases the chances of each book getting the clicks and making sales. So if you want to check this out, it's part of the Raydog KDP membership, which comes with loads of course content. We do group live calls every single Friday, and as you can see here, we have tutorials on getting started, niche research, keyword research, launching your books, Amazon ads, but we stay really up to date inside the live calls because in 2026 it's so important that you are up to date. And it's one of the reasons why new publishers are fading so much, is because they're not adapting to these changes on the Amazon marketplace. For example, utilizing AI, getting into the right niches, getting feedback. And we do this every single week. We talk about new niches. We talk about niches that are super versatile. I do case studies on my own books, for example, that have made over $100,000 from my actual pen name. I show everything inside of the Raydog live sessions here. If you want to check it out, we cover so many things: Amazon ads, audio books, activity books, whatever you're interested in, there's going to be something for you, and all of these get recorded. Again, if you want to check it out, it's at chrisraydog.com. So we're picking the best style for our covers. And here's the thing: if you want to prompt more into your AI tool to give you maybe being the keyword here, better results, you can look at design principles for your book covers, and you can bake this in to Nano Banana. You don't have to do this. This is not the main part of the tutorial, but it's something to consider. For example, your book, as we just said, your book cover needs to read well in a thumbnail format. You can test things like prompting the 30-60-10 color rule, for example, value, contrast, focal point, negative space, genre signaling, and typography hierarchy, for example. Okay, so you can bake these into the prompt if you want to get a much truer book cover that sort of adheres to typical design principles. You don't have to, but it's worth baking into your prompting. So for example, you might use something like this when it comes to coloring the book. So I have an uncolored interior illustration, transform it into a colored book cover using Nano Banana. Put the title that you want, of course, the niche, the target reader, the mood again, and then ask it to write a transformation prompt that specifies a 3-color palette, blah, 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 prefers a line art, and includes legible at thumbnail size, strong value contrast. Okay, so you can try this when you have already your interior image, and you're putting that interior image into Nano Banana, and then you'll get whatever the resulting prompt from this that you can use to do that. Okay, so the result of the first colorized image is looking something like this, which is not going to be good enough. Okay, so here's the most powerful method that I know. You can probably disregard some of the other things that I said about the 60-30-10 rule and all those things here. This I find to be much more powerful than anything, and it's much easier to do as well than worrying about hierarchy and all that type of shit. Okay, so this is my buzzword method here. Let's say that the first result that you got back, let me just get my pen, was this here. Like, it doesn't look particularly good. It was the very first result, and we're not going to run with it because I don't think it makes sense. I kind of like it, but I don't think it works that well for this kind of adult, cute, angry fruit niche thing that I'm going for here. Okay, what you want to do is take this original image, download it, put it into Nano Banana in a new chat, and then you're going to give it some buzzwords. So what you're going to say to it is, create a new version of this cover, this one, in a new style. Okay, so that style can be anything that you want, and it's super simple to do this. So, for example, pastel color palette, comic book style, psychedelic version, movie poster style, horror version, vintage style, glamorous or glimmering style, funky or saturated. And you can also mix all of these together for your buzzwords. So, psychedelic and horror version, or a funky, saturated comic book style as well. Okay, and the results are super, super interesting. And what I would do is keep doing this over and over and over until you get the cover that you want. So originally we started like this, and then we started putting in the buzzwords. So for example, we tried this here. Awful, looks like AI. This one we tried like a pastel color palette. Again, it's not punchy enough. Then we moved on to something more aggressive like this here. Again, it still looks like AI. These aren't the best examples. Then we tried this version here, which was a different prompt. Then this one here, and then we tried something completely different as well. And we ended up with this. Now, this is not the best results I've ever had. Of course, this is about 30 minutes of work. You should be looking at between 3 and 5 hours when it comes to creating the book covers. But using this method, I can promise you, if you do like 10 to 20 different versions and styles, you're going to find something amazing. And if you can't get there, what I recommend that you do is take a new interior page and start that process over again. And I promise you, you will get some awesome looking book covers from it. So just for full transparency here, this, for example, because I think I maybe skipped a step here kind of, but this was the style that we liked. And let's just say this was the image that we liked. I probably wouldn't have used this one, but the prompt that we got back from, I think I was using Claude, was something like this. So I'm not going to spend time reading it, but it takes into consideration all the different design principles, where the title for the book cover and some of the different colors. And the result was this one here. That was the first one. Okay. So that's going to be your starting point. And then you can go through the different styles that you can create new versions from this. Okay. So if you don't know what styles to use, you can quite easily come over to any AI tool and just say, give me 10 more styles I can use for this cover, like horror version, etc. And I always talk to AI like I'm a caveman. It takes too long to perfect your grammar for me anyway. But for some reason here, what we can see, it has to give it 10 more styles, and it's gone ahead and created an actual image, which we don't want. So I'm just asking it, no, just give me the styles. We don't want images like this, because this is just one big image. We want the actual styles. So for example, horror version, 1970s psychedelic, minimalist, vector, whatever that says there, pop art, etc. Glitch art is a good one to use. Steampunk is a good one to use. And you can just keep asking. So for example, let's just say, let's try create a glitch art version of this cover. So typically I would upload the cover again. I'm being a bit lazy, but let's just see what it comes back with. So as you can see, this was the glitch art version of the cover. It doesn't suit the niche, but I think it can, for high content books, actually, for this type of style, I really like it for some niches. Probably doesn't work for this one, but again, you'd keep going through the prompts, the different buzzwords, try mixing them together: psychedelic, trippy, horror, glamorous, cute, all those words, put them in and ask it to create new versions, and I promise you, eventually you'll get something that you love. So that's how you do it. If you like these shorter, straight to the point tutorials, let me know in the comments and I'll make more of them. If you want to check out the Raydog KDP membership and fast track your success with publishing, check out chrisraydog.com. Like I said, it comes with all of these live calls. We've done 95 calls. People love them. That's why we've done so many every single week. Group calls, a new topic every single week. We reveal niches, actual niches that you can get into, that's helping members make their first sales. We have people massively speeding up the process. You can check out the success stories inside of the Discord here. You can check out the success other people are having using these methods. We have people releasing their books with the best BSRs they've ever had. We've had people that were never profitable before who started to make their new books profitable from the advertising strategies, the AI tools that we recommend that publishers use. We have publishers that are building their first email list so that they can secure their income for the future. That's a cool topic for a different day, but extremely important that you start thinking about building away from Amazon for long-term consistent income. We have members doing that. We have people picking up absolutely life-changing results as well, as you can see from some of these posts in the success stories section. So again, if you want to check it out, if you're interested, you're curious, want to just join for a month to see what it's all about, you think it's shit, you can go, that's fine. We've got a very generous 7-day refund policy. Go ahead, check it out, see what you think. That's the end of this video. Let me know if you like these shorter tutorials that are straight to the point. See you in another video very soon.